Yeah.
Yeah, and when he was interviewed after winning the championship last year, he was like, uh, "I feel good. Job's done.
That's a good.
Gonna go back and
That's a
I feel good."
crazy Jokic impersonation.
Yeah, because I watched it.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. I'm here with Gab and not not Maui for today. Our old friend Mason Amos back for another episode of Boleros. What's up, Gab and Mason?
What's happening? What's happening?
Welcome back. Welcome back, Mason. Welcome back,
Yeah.
Gab.
Okay. So, quick story before we start. So, how did Mason end up going back to this episode of Boleros? Actually, we saw the game yesterday. Gab was there at the Paco gym watching a few of the Pinoy Liga games. We're covering a few of the Pinoy Liga games, and we bumped into Gab, randomly bumped into Mason. Long story, but bumped into Mason, and we decided to record an episode today. So that's how Mason ended up joining the pod today. But we've been planning on doing another episode. We just couldn't schedule anything, find a common schedule. So yung mga random um schedule talaga when you just randomly schedule with a friend. Alam niyo yun? Yun yung mga natutuloy eh. Those are the things that end up happening. So, welcome back, Mason. I know yesterday was your first game in Pinoy Liga, at first Ateneo's first game. You guys lost to Mapua, but how is it so far? How is it like playing competitively in a local league after like UAAP? How are you? How's the team?
To be honest, it's actually good to be back on the court. I've been looking forward to playing again. UAP was a long time ago already now.
Yeah.
Ended a while ago, so having a long off season, it's something that I wish would change. I wish that would have more than one season a year, because it's a long wait. Um, Kind of like kills you because you really want to play. Like I know we got a lot of preseason, but
We
at the
really want to watch.
We
It
really
goes
want
yeah,
to
both
watch.
ways.
like for example, when it was 84 and 85, how they had two seasons in one year, I thought that was pretty cool. Um, I know that
That's
means
true.
less preparation time, but it also means like you're playing a lot of games, and I think that's how you get to see the true potential of all the teams. Um,
Yeah.
and for me personally, I feel like it's just good to be back on the court, but it's also something I wish would change, but it's not up to me. So
We actually talked about that in one of our segments with to end the season. Like if you were the UAAP, would you extend the season, like make it
hmm
longer?
hmm
So we were kind of split on it. On one hand, I think people love the every game counts kind of format, because it's just
hmm
14 games. Every game is a must win. So, but
yeah,
there are some who do want to extend the season, like make it a triple round robin,
hmm
make it a longer playoffs. So
hmm
it goes both ways. There are pros and cons to both points of view, I think.
yeah.
Glad you
So I'm
mentioned that,
curious.
though.
I'm curious, Mason, because you mentioned about like the short season, right? And I think this was something that was brought up during the Pinoy Liga media event. Uh, After the UAAP season, what's the next like 9 months look like for like a UAAP team, like for Ateneo in general? What's it like
hmm
for you guys during the off?
Well, so we have Christmas break, or we have final exams actually before Christmas break, right after the season ends. We finish your final exams. You go to your respective countries if you're a foreigner, like if you just came in, or if you're going to the provinces back home. So you have Christmas. We make our way back early January. We start training, and that will continue throughout the whole year. Um, as you know, like we train a lot. And then around this time, so starting March, going down all the way till July, August, we'll have a
Right.
lot of preseason games. So you've got Pino Liga, as you said, like we played yesterday. We have Phil Oil coming up in about a month or two. We'll be playing in that. We might be going to Australia, just go overseas, like just train and prepare for the season. We got a long way to go, but um, yeah, that's what it looks like in the off season. It's a long off season. A lot of
Yeah.
training, a lot of preseason games, so a lot of time to prepare, which is what you need. And yeah, that's what it's like.
Okay, so it's really basically just a Christmas break, right? And then
Yeah,
January onwards is still back
yeah,
to
Training and practice. Okay.
and school.
And school,
And
of course.
school,
Yeah,
very important.
Gab.
Very
Go to
important.
school. This is
yeah.
Gab's favorite.
All players out there should go to school.
Gotta go to school. Yeah.
Mhm.
So anyway, so I'm pretty sure you guys have seen from the title what we're going to do today. We're going to do a new segment. So it's called Baller versus Bolero. And hopefully this is not going to be the first and last time that we're going to do this. So what's Baller versus Bolero? We're gonna sort of do a debate with a baller. Obviously, we do have a legit baller with us today, Mr. Mason Amos, one of the top players of Ateneo, versus a bolero, Gab. And since, Mason's a legit baller, we're just boleros. Gab and I will do a tag team here. So Gab will answer some of the questions. I'll answer some of the questions just to even the playing field a bit. Um, I have prepared some of the questions and I've shared it with everyone. So either I will ask the questions or Gab will ask the questions. I think we have 10 questions for today. We're going to talk about a little bit of the UAP, a little bit of Gilas, and a bit of the NBA, just because uh, it's the last day of the NBA season tomorrow. Actually, we're recording is at 10 p.m. on a Sunday. I think the games are starting at like 12 midnight or 1 a.m. So in a few hours. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's get started. So just so that Mason has sort of time to get the hang of it, I'll start with Gab on the first question. Is that okay with you, Mason?
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. First
So
question.
forgive me if I'm a little bit heated, Mason, because debates are kind of my thing. So,
I love debates. Don't worry, I love
Okay, this
debates.
is I think this is going to be a competitive debate. Okay, first question. Let's get started. Let's talk about the UAAP first. What's the biggest off-season surprise so far in the UAAP? So anything that's happened in the off-season, maybe someone leaving, new recruit, transferees, new coaches, uh, p- off-season performance, whatever. Biggest off-season surprise so far. And by the way, we can't judge ourselves, so we'll leave it to you, the listeners, to be the judge. You can rate us for each question. Who wins the first question? Is it Mason the baller or us the boleros? And then let us know who's the overall winner of this baller versus bolero debate. So Gab, first question. Biggest off-season surprise so far?
biggest off-season surprise. Before today, I would have answered Jared Bahay going renegating on his commitment to UP and going to Ateneo. I would have answered that. However, we got the news that Andy Hemao, who has long been rumored to play in the US, trying to play in the US, suddenly out of nowhere playing for the UP Fighting Maroons in Pinoy Liga. I don't know, Mason, if you were able to watch the game
Mhm.
this afternoon or see the social media post about Andy Himao making his debut for the UP Fighting Maroons. But given that came out of nowhere, I would say that is the biggest surprise so far. And here's my reasoning. Andy Himao has been one of the most hyped high school players, even more than Jared Bahay, Kiefer Alas, all these other great high school players in the Philippines. Andy Himao has been that guy. We saw him win a championship for Letran 2 years ago. He stopped going to school in Letran, decided to go to the US. This guy has hops, he has the skills, and suddenly we find him on a loaded UP team already. I'm sure Mason, you would agree. This UP team is loaded, and now
Mhm.
I think for season 88, I don't think he's eligible for season 87. I think for season 88, he's going to play for UP, most likely. Although we're still not sure, but
Mhm.
most likely he's gonna play for UP, and that's a big thing. UP just got a lot scarier for more seasons to come, and this is just a big shock. Maybe it's just recency bias for me.
Recency
the
bias.
shock of it, the shock of me seeing the post that Andy Himao is playing today. So I had to watch that game and seeing him actually play in a UP uniform. Andy Himao to UP. That is the biggest surprise of the offseason so far.
Mhm.
Mason, go ahead.
And
Okay.
sorry, just to add
Yeah.
there, I think Gab, it was also a bigger shock because he wasn't originally on the roster, right? Or the list of
Mm.
names, I think. So we were
There
like,
were no
whoa.
rumors.
Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
was
Out of
nothing. There's
nowhere.
nothing leading up to it.
Okay.
Mason, go ahead.
Okay, Mason, go
All
ahead.
right. On my end, to be honest, off season, I feel like the biggest thing for me when I heard about it was Baklaan and Cortez going to LaSalle. And my reasoning for
Good
Ooh.
this
pick.
is because one, I thought because Baklaan was kind of the go-to guy for NU, I thought he was going to stay. Um, and then the other one was because Cortez just won a championship with Sam Beta. And I kind of hinted at it, but like it wasn't the most shocking because KQ's best friends with Baklaan. Cortez used to like have roots with LaSalle. So you know what I mean? Like it was shocking for me because again, that's a stacked LaSalle team that just won a championship. You added another champion from San Beda. You added one of the best point guards in the league, in Kian Baklaan. Like, I know you said Andy Gamal, but for me, until Andy can prove like his worth in the UAAP, it's not shocking until I see what Baklaan and Cortez have done for their respective schools. Because I got to respect someone that I've played against. Um, and to be honest, that's my reasoning for Cortez and Baklaan being the biggest shock for me because they KQ, Baklaan, and Cortez together. That's along with Michael Phillips. That's a it's a big team.
That's a great point, actually. I have to give it to you. Actually, Andy Ama has not been proven yet in the seniors division. So I have to give you that point. But again,
But
just recency
to be
bias for
honest,
me,
like
seeing the shock.
Gamal was
Yeah.
shocking, and I have a lot of respect for Gamal. But in terms of who I played against, because you got to say like I've played against these guys. It's shocking that Cortez and Baklaan are on the same team with KQ. Like it's kind of like you trade. It's like you're trading, but you're not even trading. You're just gaining two superstars and adding it onto the other superstar. Like it's an all-star team at this point.
Yeah. Signing two superstar free agents. But I think the
Exactly.
big
Yeah.
question I think that's a good pick,
Mhm.
Mason. Commenters, listeners, please comment down below which one you prefer. Is it Gab's pick or Mason's pick? I think Mason, for me, the big question there because
Mhm.
Cortez and Baklaan are joining in season 88. Is KQ still going to be there in season 88? We've been doing
Mhm.
for those watching Boleros, we've been doing KQ watch. I think for season 87 he has recommitted, but it's a long time from season 88,
Mhm.
so we don't know what's going to happen with KQ. So, but that's going to be a scary
Mhm.
three-headed beast with Mike
Mhm.
Phillips. But yeah, the question is, will they be complete by season 88?
Because again, also with Gab's point about Andy Gamal, I wasn't too shocked because based off UP's roster already, I wasn't shocked that another big recruit was going to go there. Again, like you could say it's kind of predictable because UP's got a lot of the recruits that came out of high school, came from the States, came from abroad. So for me, it was like, oh, something's bound to happen. I don't know who, but when it happens, it's not going to be the biggest like shock for me.
And, and I think another thing that doesn't shock me what is him going to UP because I think he was
Hmm.
recruited by Coach Gold
Yes,
when
Coach
he was in
Gold,
high
yeah.
school,
correct.
right?
Yes.
He's one of Coach Gold's guys. So
Hmm.
him going to UP was not a shock. Him going to playing for UP today was the shock for me.
In Pinoy
That is.
Liga, like
I can
today,
agree on
yeah.
that. I can agree on that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he wasn't actually listed on the roster, and
Yeah,
again, you just saw the articles come out today. So
crazy. Sam, my turn to ask a question.
Yeah, sorry, just one last really great points on Baclaan and Cortez. And actually, we talked about that. Gab, Maui, and I talked about that in a previous episode. And we were, I think, equally surprised or shocked when that happened because, again, they were in great situations. These were guys that were in great situations already. So it was sort of surprising that they ended up moving. But go ahead, Gab.
All right. We have another UAAP related question.
Mhm.
And again, to give no, we're not giving you the soft treatment here, Mason. You're gonna go first for this question. Who is the most intriguing player for season 87? Go ahead. You can't answer yourself. That's cheating.
Uh, to be honest, I gotta give props to the guy that I play against a lot. I mentioned him already previously. You can't go wrong with saying the MVP, Kevin Kimball. Um, to be honest, he's worked hard for what he's achieved. There's a lot of guys in the league I can really give props to, but in terms of being intriguing, he's proved that he was the best player in the UAP last season, and I can't argue with that. He won a championship, he got the MVP, he's won Rookie of the Year. It's not me just giving him props for it. It's more you got to give credit where credit is due. Regardless of if we're rivals, again, we're going to be Gilas teammates. So um, again, I got a lot of respect for him. For me, KQ's definitely still the most intriguing player for this season until someone proves it wrong. Um, again, like we've all got a lot to prove, but again, so far he's the one that has proven the most. So yeah, that's my pick.
Great pick. And I think with KQ, the intriguing part of KQ is what will he add to his game in season
Mhm.
87? Because I don't know if you followed him as much as we have, Mason, but in season 84 when he started, he had one offensive move, which was a one-handed floater from
Floater,
the free
yeah.
throw line, or a
I've
push
had
shot. Like,
I've had to guard it multiple times. It's a hard shot to guard.
but that was his one offensive move, and then now you see him now, Mason. That it's like, what happened? Why is your bag suddenly so full of offensive moves? Like you have a fadeaway, you have a hook shot, you have a step back three. Crazy what he's done in a span of what 2 years? It's been 2 years since the bubble season 84 season. Crazy for KQ.
Mhm.
Sam, go ahead. Who's your most intriguing player for season 87?
Okay, so Mason picked the MVP. I'm gonna go with a new player. I'm gonna pick the obvious one. I think it's going to be Jared Bahay, Mason's teammate. Why is he the most intriguing player? Because there's so much hype, and Jared Bahay hasn't played a single UAAP game yet. Yet
Mhm.
he has been talked about so much for the past like 12 months already. Him committing early to UP, being the top ranked high school player the past I think like 2 years, decommitting. So much has happened in his UAAP career, and yet he hasn't played a single game yet. So with a lot of things happening behind the scenes, I think people just also can't wait to see him play his first UAAP game or play his
Mhm.
first UAAP season. See him perform. Let him showcase his talent in the UAAP because we've
Mhm.
seen him obviously in high school. We've seen him perform really well in Gilas. We want to see him play in the UAP because the UAP, Mason, I'm sure you can
Mhm.
attest to this. The UAP is also a different environment. It's also a different league.
It's something that shocks you when you first playing it.
See, that came from Mason. So I think for me, most intriguing has to be Jared Bahay also.
I mean, I agree with you. I see what you did there. You put your teammate against my own teammate against me. I see what you did there, so you can win this debate. I can't argue
Next
with that.
level gaming.
Uh, Bahai, I know him very well, so I could be the first to say that, yeah, he's going to be a very intriguing player. But then again, I'm just basing it off previous, people who have played. I'm not doubting Bahai's abilities because, of course, like he's the number one recruit for a reason. He's a point guard that we really need. Um, and so, for example, like as you said, people have been wanting to watch him for a while. I've been wanting to play with him for a while too. So it's been a while since I have been playing with him. It was about 2 years ago. Um, but other than that, yeah, I can agree with you on that. Uh, but for me to win this debate, you can't argue against an MVP and champion. So that
I
I
love
feel
how
like the debate.
competitive he is, Sam.
I
Yeah,
feel like
He's
the
I
still
know,
debate
I
trying to
know.
make himself an argument.
because you can't say anyone's more intriguing than an MVP. There's
Then
no other.
MVP.
That
Okay,
that's true though, and he is the future of Philippine basketball. So
that's true. So comment
tell us
down
in the
below, who do you think
comments.
won
I love
this round? Um, by the way,
Sam. Go
Mason,
ahead.
you sort of explained it earlier, but I
Mhm.
guess for the listeners, can you share? People were asking, oh, how come Jared Baye didn't play yesterday
Mhm.
during Pinoy Liga? Maybe you can share the simple reason.
Okay. So for context, for everyone listening, Bahai, he's gonna he's gonna join us soon. He's just finishing his high school, like every other student, finishing his final exams. He'll be joining us soon. There's nothing you need to worry about. It's not like he's, like decommitting or anything. Um, he's just working hard in high school right now down in Cebu. He'll be here shortly. It's just a matter of time. We're in no rush. I know you guys want to see him play, but he'll come through eventually.
Yes, he's still studying, guys. He's still
Mhm.
studying. Chill out, chill out. There was a
Still in
lot
high
of
school.
panic, Mason, when your lineup came out in the Pinoy League. Like, where's Jay House? Where's Jared Bahay? So, guys, relax. He's still
And that's
studying. May
also
exam
not
pa
the
yung bata.
final. That's not actually the
Yeah.
final roster. So
All right. You heard it from Mason Amos himself. Right, Sammy. Let's move on to our next question.
Okay. Next question. Graduate player their team will miss the most in season 87. So has to be a player that graduated already and will be missed the most in season 87. Mason started. Uh, we'll start with you, Gab, again.
You know, I'm tempted to say Evanele from Lasal, but I have to go with the previous MVP before KQ. It's Malik Diouf of UP. That was Mason's answer. I can see it in his face. That's Mason's answer. It's Malik Diouf. Uh,
mhm,
Listen, I've watched this guy go toe to toe with Aj Kwame.
mhm,
And I've seen this guy become such a dominant defensive force for UP. If there's one thing that UP hangs their hat on, and I think Mason, you know this, they
mhm,
play really tough defense and really tight defense because they have a Malik Diouf right behind them who can clean up their mess.
mhm,
And the evidence is right there in in the stats. UP's net rating falls off a cliff when
mhm,
Malik Diouf is not on the floor. And because of his defensive presence. And here's an underrated thing about Malik Diouf. You can switch with him. You're still not getting the
mhm.
advantages, even if you
Yeah.
switch with him. Even if you're a foot shorter than Malik Diouf, you're still not gonna be faster or
Mhm,
gonna get away from him on the perimeter. I think UP is gonna find that out really quickly when the UAAP starts. That even if they have another FSA, even if they have Gani Stevens in their lineup, nothing replaces the presence of a guy like Malik Diouf. Enough said.
mhm.
He can have a game where he scores 10 points and he'll be a plus 36 in the
Yeah.
box. I've seen that game over and over. 10 points on the box score, and you see his net
As
rating. Oh, he's a plus 36. What the
as
hell?
someone who's played against him, I can agree with you. Again, like you can't argue with a presence that like he puts people's shots off. I've experienced it myself. He gets every single rebound. He's someone that he's one of those players that's there all the time in the right places at the right time. He's one of those players that just doesn't stop moving. He's one of the, to be honest, he's the hardest player I've ever tried to box out because regardless of the box out, he still gets the rebound. Um, it's similar to the
He's a
likes
nose
of
for that ball. He's a
Phillips as
nose for that
well.
ball.
Phillips and Dew
Like,
are the two. But for my pick, Um, personally, this is going to be a shocker for you guys, but I'm going to say Joseph Obasa, my FSA from
Oh,
last season.
Oh, okay.
Personally, like I know you said Diu as like he's the main centerpiece for UP's defense. Without Diouf, it's a different type of UP team because he had such a big impact on that team. For me, it's the same thing with Joseph Obasa. I know last year he was a bit raw because it was his first season in the UAAP. I know he was a one and done, um, but since he's graduated, I could say that we've also lost a Malik Diouf esque type of player
number one
on the
shot
defensive
blocker
end. He's the
in the
number
league.
one
Yeah.
shot blocker in the
Joseph
league
Obasa.
last season. And us losing him, we lose an FSA that not only gave us rim protection, but he was really good on the perimeter defensively. And again, like to prove my debate, Joseph Obasa gave Diouf a hard time last season, regardless of the last outcome, you could say. But in that first game and two that we played UP, Diouf kind of had problems with him. And like to be honest, like I know it's not Ange level, but I got to give credit to my old teammate from last season, Joseph Obasa, because he really provides a bigger impact than a lot of people think. Um, Even though he may turn the ball over sometimes, it happens. It's his first season. But for his first season, he was really dominant defensively. And that's why
He
I'm going to give him
was.
props. And that's a big loss for us as an Ateneo team.
So I see what Amos did, Sam. He did what you did in the previous question.
I
He went for the
know.
homer pick, so that
With the teammate pick.
so that,
Um,
so that people will side with him.
yeah.
But
So,
honestly,
listeners, comment down
I
below who
can't
you think won this round.
I can't disagree with that. I mean, I saw the impact of Joseph Obasa. I saw him play multiple games. I've seen him have so many block shots.
But for me,
But to the listeners out there,
yeah,
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
imports, the FSAs, for me, have the biggest impact on the game of the UAAP. Because again, like they're more, most of them, like the truth is, they're more athletically gifted. Uh, they have the height advantage of most of the time, so it's easy for them to make an impact. But it goes like people overlook them sometimes, and I think credit is due with the FSAs in the league, like Diu, Fabasa, Ange, Kwame, Mbala. Like
Mbala.
you just gotta bow because they really give their all regardless. Despite not being Filipino at all, they're still really fighting for their schools, and that's all that anyone can ask for.
I I was gonna make a joke, but I think Mo Fati has taken enough criticism from me the past couple of months.
Again, even Mo Fati was he was a raw big too. So I mean, like I know there was a lot of jokes and stuff, but all jokes aside, like it's hard to play in the UAP sometimes. So
It's true. That's true. That's
Just
true.
just some
Go
runner
Sam.
ups. I think those are obvious. Actually, the Obuasa pick. I didn't think about that, but that's a good
mhm.
point. Just some runner up picks, I guess, for graduate player their team will miss the most. I think Evanele is also a good pick. Lasal will get really good point guards, but they're coming in season 88. So, that's still a big question mark for Lasal this
Mhm.
coming season 87. Who will step into the Evanele role for Lasal? So I think that's also like a
Mhm.
really good pick for this one. Jerome Lastimosa, just because it's an end of an era, but
I was gonna say. I was gonna
he
say,
barely
Sam.
played last
I'm gonna
season.
shout out
So
Jerome.
yeah, but I think worth mentioning. And LJ Gonzalez for FEU,
Yeah.
who saved FEU and beat Ateneo twice. I'm always gonna remind you about that, Gab, and I'm sorry, Mason, I have to remind you about that.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry, I
So
experienced it at the disheartening moments of the UAP last season. Um, I'm not going to make excuses. The shots went in. Whatever shots they threw up just went in, and it happens. There's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it. It was off the glass, the second round. You just have to bow,
I
No
mean,
bow down to
no
him.
praise
It's
your
off the
game.
glass
Yeah.
from the top of the key.
Yeah.
You know how hard that shot is. I assume you know, Mason, how hard it
it
is
was kind
to
of
go off the glass from the top of the key.
it was like a floater too. And when I saw it go up, I was like, "There's no way this goes in." But you know,
Alright.
it
Let's
happens.
just stop reminiscing the pain. I was in pain. I'm sure you were in pain, Mason. So let's just stop with
I
the
heard a
pain.
lot.
Let's
I
move
heard a lot.
on.
I heard a lot from that game. So
Let's
Moving
move
on.
on.
Next question.
Moving
Gab.
on to our next question. So we're done with the UAAP questions. We're gonna go Gilas this time. Who is the best Gilas guard? So we have some choices here. We have Jimmy Alapag, Eli Tenorio, or Jason Castro.
Okay.
Mason, let's start with you. Oh, yeah, Mason, let's
No.
start with you.
Yeah,
this
Mason.
isn't.
But
This
sorry,
isn't
let me just
a.
explain this. The three choices. We decided to pick these three guards because they sort of played during the same era, so it's easier to compare the performance of the three guards. We're not saying this is the best ever Gilas guard. It's just that those three were also very
And
legendary.
none played with Mason Amos, so he can't pick
So you
any
can't
of
be
his
biased.
friends.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mason. You get first pick.
All right, Jason Castro. Arguably the best for me. You can't argue with the best point guard in Asia at one point. He proved multiple times why he should be respected. He's called the blur for a reason. You can't guard him. I think it's enough said. Like for me, LA Tenorio and stuff have an offensive game, all above. But for me, they're just more like floor generals. Like they like to pass the ball. I'm not saying Castro doesn't pass the ball. I'm just saying that when it was needed for Gilas in the times like when they were losing, I kid you not, Castro just went crazy. And like
Yeah,
some,
exactly.
I overheard some, like I can't remember who, but I remember some NBA players were interviewed about it, and they said that this guy was different. And like even still now in the PBA, Castro still has such a big impact. Same with Tenorio, but I got to go with my boy Castro. He is, for me, the best, probably the best Gilas point guard ever.
Best Gilas point guard ever. Wow,
Wow.
it's a big call. There have been a lot of Gilas point guards, Mason. I think a lot of our more experienced subscribers who remember the
Yeah.
90s, the Johnny A's with
Everyone,
would
everyone's
argue
got
with
their
you.
favorites. So
Yes,
Yeah.
everyone's got their favorites, but great. Sammy, Mason went with the Jason Castro. Who are you going with?
Okay. Hard to argue with that. This is tough, but I think I'm gonna go with his teammate in TNT. I'm gonna go with Jimmy Alapag, coaching in the US right now for Sacramento. Why Jimmy? I think you mentioned it, Mason. I think Jason Castro is like the best scoring guard ever in the Philippines or who has played for Gilas. Um, but for me, when I say guard, I really like a floor general. And then you
mhm,
mentioned it. I think Jimmy and LA are more floor generals. Jason's more of like a
mhm,
scoring guard. I like Jimmy because he's more balanced than LA, I would say. He can score when he has to. He has that
mhm,
uh clutch gene in him. He can score like a
mhm,
quick three, a long distance three when he needs to. But he can also play make, and he's very quick also, just like Jason. Maybe not as quick or as fast as Jason Castro, but
mhm.
he was also very quick and um hit a lot of clutch shots for
Mhm.
Gilas during his time. So, and very smart and heady despite being very small.
I'm gonna use something against you here, though.
Go
I gotta
ahead.
support my fellow
Oh,
Kapapangans.
What? Sorry.
I gotta support my fellow Kapapangans.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And for the cover fans out there, you guys know that Jason is the guy. He's just him. So, I guess that can help my debate a bit.
He's cheating, Sam. Can you believe this?
Using the
He's pulling out
Kapampangan,
the Kapampangan card. Can you believe this?
Kapampangan card. I don't know. Voters, comment down below which pick, who won this pick. Best Gilas guard. Let's see.
All right, Sammy. Our next question.
Oh, hey. This is something that has been debated in the previous Gilas stints. Import you would rather have. And I'll give you two choices. So, whoever goes first here gets to pick from the two. The second one has no choice. Justin Brownlee or Jordan Clarkson? Gab, you're supposed to
I think
go
I'm
first, but
going
I don't know if
first.
you want
I
to give
think-
it to Mason. I don't know.
Oh,
if you
no,
want
Don't
to
do this to me. I know what you're gonna say.
He went first last time, so I'm gonna go first.
But
this
wait,
time.
Gab, you're always going first. So
Okay, fine.
you're always going first against Mason. So I'm gonna give this to Mason. Mason, you can go first. this
Fine,
time.
fine.
Let's switch
My
it up.
boy, Justin Brownlee.
What?
I'm going with
Really?
Justin
You're
Brownlee.
picking?
Okay,
Alright.
Okay, go ahead.
He's an Asian gold medalist. He's a SEA Games gold medalist. He brought those 2 medals to the Philippines, and you can arguably say he's one of the best imports ever in the PBA. And all I'm going to say is Justin has proved his worth in this country. He's represented us very well. He's also a very humble dude. And I know you can say Clarks is an NBA player, but the impact that Brownlee had on the team that he's played with, all the teams that he's played with, has shown. Because he's not just a scorer. And I will say this, Clarkson's only a scorer. He doesn't play defense. And you can't argue with that.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. You can't argue with that. And me personally being able to play alongside him, I know there's some favoritism there. However, again, the medals for the countries prove it wrong. I know he didn't play in the World Cup team, but that's not his choice. Like, he had no say in that. So you can't blame the man. But for me personally, JB's the GOAT. Him and Junma are the 2 GOATs for me. But again, all the Nebra fans can also say JB's the GOAT. And the best import for Gilas is definitely Justin Brownlee. All those Nebra fans out there, I know you guys are watching. Comment down below.
I
just
can't
saying.
Pulling
believe
the
this.
Hinebra card this time.
He's pulled the
This guy,
Kapampangan
what a
card. Now he's
guy.
pulling the Hinebra card. My goodness. All right, so
Okay,
it's my turn to answer.
Gab,
It's
you
my
have
turn
picked
to answer.
Jordan
So I'm
Clarkson.
obviously gonna go with Jordan Clarkson. Now, the question, Mason, was which import would you rather have on your team? Now you pointed out all of Justin Brownlee's accomplishment for Gilas Pilipinas. That wasn't the question though. The question was who was the import or the naturalized player you would rather have, and I think
Wait, can I stop you there?
I'll
real
give
quick?
you the. All right, go.
Would you rather have a winner or someone that never won?
Okay, fine. He never won with Gilas Pilipinas. I would argue he's won in the NBA level, not a championship, but he's won. However, if I were building a team and have a system that revolves around his strengths, I'll give you the defense part. Obviously, JB plays better defense than Jordan Clarkson, but I think in the right system, JC can be a much better international player than what we've currently seen from Jordan Clarkson. Because all we've seen from Jordan Clarkson is when he's put into a Gilas Filipinas roster, they give him the ball all the time and they watch him work, which I don't think is the right way to play international basketball. I'm sure you will agree. As someone who has played international basketball, Mason. But let's say you put him in a system much as like what Coach Tab used to run for Gilas, and not always where you're ball watching Jordan Clarkson. I think you could find
I'll give you
You
another
well,
point here.
let me finish. I
Okay.
think you could find that
This is getting
Jordan
competitive,
Clarkson.
heated.
I think you could find that Jordan Clarkson will have a much better international career than what he was currently seen as, because it's kind of unfair what he's been put in Gilas to do. Just be the hero guy, take all the shots, always make every single play down the floor. I don't think that's the right way to play Jordan Clarkson. And if you've watched the Utah Jazz the past couple of seasons, I think you know how best to utilize Jordan Clarkson. He's not the ball dominant guy in Utah, despite having that role sometimes. He averages what, 4 or 5 assists a game. I know. I have him in my fantasy team. So I think in the right system with a better talent, I don't think you'll just say that JB is the better talent than Jordan Clarkson. I mean, Jordan Clarkson has played tons of years in the NBA.
Mhm.
So I would say in the right system, I would take Jordan Clarkson over Justin Brown. Plus, he's younger.
All right. To prove my point, as someone that's played in Gilas, um, JB is not a ball dominant player. In a system, you were talking about systems. Systems don't work with ball dominant players. As you can see from the last World Cup, it did not work, and that was a ball dominant system where they gave it to JB, right? You see with JB, Jordan Clarkson, he not Jordan Clarkson, Justin Brownlee. He can play in whatever system he is. He doesn't even have to have the ball to be effective, and that's the impact that I'm talking
a
about.
good point. Yeah.
You say you prove my point saying JB can't play JC can't play defense, and how does that impact the system? It doesn't help at all. JB can play defense. That's already something that you give away. And I know you can improve the system around Jordan Clarkson, but you can't be Jordan Clarkson without the basketball in your hands. And the way Justin Brownlee plays, we know the ball's not in his hands. It's surround like it's just like let the ball come to you type of play. And speaking from my experience playing in the team, who I'd rather have on the team is Justin Brownlee because he's not a ball dominant player. And you want to have teammates that move the ball. You want to have teammates that can pass. I know you said 5 assists a game, but at the end of the day, we know who's going to be taking every single shot, and that's going to be Jordan Clarkson. But with Brownlee, he's not like I'm not saying Jordan Clarkson's selfish, but Brownlee's impact to the game of basketball is more significant because let's be honest. I still think Brownlee's a better rebounder. I think he's a better defender. He's a better leader on the court for me because I know Jordan Clarkson was a six man. He was never a leader in the NBA because he was off the bench. So you can't really say his leadership was the best. I'm not hating on Jordan Clarkson. I know what he's capable of. I know he played in the NBA. But for me, if JB was a bit younger, he would be in the NBA right now. Again, like the impact is what I'm talking about, and not just scoring the ball and talents wise. Because again, talent's not going to win you championships. And again, winning. All the Endeavor fans can say Justin Brownlee's a winner. All the Gilas fans can say, hey, all the Gilas fans can say Justin Brownlee's a better winner, and it's proven. Like you can't argue with medals, you can't argue with how he plays. Like you got to consider all the factors surrounding it rather than just being an NBA player. Because you could be an NBA player anywhere else, but as you can see, USA lost in the World Cup. So again, it's just depending on the system. But for me personally, if you have a ball dominant system, it's not going to turn out well internationally. And Justin Brownlee fits international better than Jordan Clarkson, in my opinion.
I love
Okay.
how spirited he is, Sam.
Yeah. I think that
I
was
think we
the
struck
best
a nerve.
discussion so
We
far.
struck a nerve.
I know.
I
But
had to
he's been
speak
talking
the truth.
about JB even in the previous episode. I remember that. JB and Junmar. So listeners, comment down below who won that very heated round. And who do you think who would you rather have on Gilas? Is it Justin Brownlee, Filipino by heart, or Justin Clarkson, Filipino by blood?
Hey,
So comment down below.
Filipinos with the true Puso know that Justin Brownlee's the guy for the job.
Next question. But
Our
I love
next
that debate
question.
between the two of you.
I I love it too. I love how spirited he is with the debates. So our next question. We're making the most out of you today,
No
Mason.
worries, no
So
worries.
you have a lot of questions to answer. So the Phil foreign player you wish could be eligible for Gilas. So Mason, so you've played against a lot of them in the UAAP. You play,
Mhm.
I think you can easily answer this question, but I'm gonna give the floor first to Sam Santos. Sam,
You know what? I'm going to. I don't know if this is cheating, but I'm going to pick Gab's previous pick. I'm going to pick Jordan Clarkson because I think it's
that's
crazy.
cheating.
I think it's crazy that Jordan Clarkson has to play as a naturalized player. I think that's crazy because
Mhm.
technically he is Filipino by blood. So there wouldn't even be a debate between Justin Brownlee and Jordan Clarkson if they just allowed Jordan Clarkson to play as a Filipino. You know what I mean. So uh that has been like the biggest problem for us with all like these foreign players, right? Because they're extra strict with their eligibility, but with other countries, other schools, as long as you have your as long as you come from a your parents or your relatives are from that nationality, then you sort of are more eligible, right? So I don't, it's sort of cheating, but Jordan Clarkson is a highly talented NBA player, international player, and I think it would have been a lot easier if he would have played for us as a Filipino, not as a
Mhm.
naturalized player. So that's my pick.
Again, this all like I'm actually going to use something that was in the debate from the question before about the best imports. And to prove your point, like to go along with your point, how you said Clarkson and Brownlee, it'd be good to have Clarkson as just a natural player that we can have. That's Filipino, so they can play together. For me, I don't think that'll work. Um, having
Oh,
two having two superstars in one team, as you can see, unless it's the NBA where it's just ISO ball, sometimes it doesn't work. You see from Team USA, it didn't work. Um, but I know you said Clarkson, which is a good pick. Like you can't go wrong with Clarkson. Um, Again, like you can't go wrong with him. But for me personally, in terms of size that Philippines desperately needs, um, I'm gonna go with Ange Kwame. Uh,
mm.
right now, he's proving. He's showing what he did in his college days. He's playing in France right now. He's playing pro. Um, and for me, Ange is the defensive presence we really need in the international level alongside Kai. We don't like we got AJ like imagine having AJ Edu, Kai Soto, and Angelo Kwame all together at the five position. Because again, Junma is getting older, Japet's getting older. We lose those big positions in the future. And in terms of having a great Gilas team in the future, I think we need to rebuild around. Like I just wish that Ange was a Filipino, or that he was just allowed to play. It's not only like it's not Ateneo bias; it's more fitting of a team system. And I know that people could agree that having Brownlee there is already enough, but adding bigs that really can affect the game for us because we know how big the other international teams are. And like I know we need offense, but then again, I'm a true believer in system work. I play for Coach Tab, so um, I can't really get that out of my head. But uh, I'll my pick's Ange Kwame.
I I love that pick, Mason, because I love defense, and
Mhm.
Ange is a defensive beast. Even in the international level, it's a defensive beast. I think that in the Asian Games, Tim Cohn kind of was forced to play Ange in the final few
Mhm.
games because of his defense, and even
Yeah.
bench Junmar for long
Mhm.
stretches because Ange was that good on the
Mhm.
defensive end. Sammy, I'm sorry. The fact that you repeated the answer of Jordan Clarkson, I have to. You're canceled for that question.
Mhm.
Can't go wrong with JC.
Actually,
Can't go wrong with JC.
Can't go
You
wrong
can't
with
go
you.
wrong.
But actually, if
You
I
can,
had
you
a,
can, you
You
can go wrong
can't
with
go
JC.
wrong. You can't go
you
wrong.
can't go wrong.
You can because,
He's-
like I said, proves my point. Like two superstars in one team sometimes doesn't work out too well for winning at the international level. Like Luka's team strives. Like Slovenia strives. Like because they built around him. Like I know you can say, but this is Luka Doncic we're talking about. This is not
Yeah,
JC.
yeah.
Luka Doncic is a whole different level.
Different level.
But like with JC and JB, I'm sure they can find a way. But at the end of the day, it's going to be hard to even get them in the conversation. I know the question's asking who would you have, but in terms of winning, Ange is a winner too. He won at the UAP level. But who knows? When JC, maybe I'll give JC more of a chance when he wins more championships in the NBA. So
Let's just hope that Jordan Clarkson does not watch Boleros, Mason, because he will see
Oh.
all of your answers.
hey, there's no hate
Just
towards JC. It's just my opinion. So
it's good. But actually, I do have an answer for this question, and
mhm,
if this is something that I have
Honorable mention.
told
mhm,
Sam and Maui long ago. My player that I want to see in Gilas that's not eligible is actually from UP. It's Zabe Lucero
Yeah,
from UP. I don't know if you watched him
I
play,
agree.
Mason. He was injured in season 85 in the
mhm.
finals. But guy is what, 6'5".
6'7",
Yeah,
6'6".
oh, 6'6", 6'6", 6'7", has an outside shot, athletic as hell, can defend multiple positions. I think that's the type of player you'd want to see in Gilas. Like,
Mhm.
imagine him alongside KQ on the perimeter or alongside the Calvin of Tana. I think he can wreak havoc. And so he ever since I watched him in UP, I've always wanted to see him, if ever he was eligible, play the national team because I think he has so much skill, and
Mhm.
I'm so envious of what he has, of what UP had in those 2 seasons with him. He was so good. So that's my honorable mention, just showing some love to Zabe Lucero because I love this guy.
Mhm. I can
By
agree
the
with
way,
that.
Right.
welcome back, Dave Lucero, coming
Oh,
back from
Yeah,
the ACL
yeah.
injury.
I was just about to say that. It's good that he's back and healthy. I know he went through a long recovery process. He got injured in that game. It was tough to see. Um, I know, like, I'm biased with Ateneo, so I'm happy we won the championship. But, it could have been, like, you never know what it could have happened if he was still there
He was
for the
there, yeah.
game. And that's just the honest truth. I'm not discrediting anything Ateneo did in that championship run. But there's a lot of factors that can weigh into championships. And, but yeah, it's good that he's back.
yep, Zabe Lucero.
Okay,
Salute to you, man. Next question. Oh,
next
we're going to
question.
NBA.
We'll talk about the last few questions are more NBA related stuff since it's already almost the playoff season. Let's start with your MVP pick. Who's your MVP pick? Mason, we're starting with you.
NBA, right? NBA.
Yeah.
Uh, my guy, Luka Doncic. I'm going with Luka.
Okay, go,
And
go, justify.
my reasons why is I've never seen a point guard have a 70-point game with 22. I can't remember what it was. It was a crazy field goal percentage. I've never seen that before, alongside with nearly a 70-point triple double. Like I've never seen that in my lifespan. Like I know I haven't lived that long, but I have not seen that in a long time. And I just got to give it to like I feel like the NBA is kind of gone its ways and like discluded Luca from a lot of MVP conversations. They always talk about Jokic, Shea, um, and Giannis, but then again, like you got to give Luca credit because this guy's even in the playoffs, like last year, he kicked out like the Suns, like all these teams, and like
He wasn't in the
he's kind of
playoffs last year, though, Mason.
oh,
Two
the
years
season
ago.
before. I mean, the season before. Like regardless, you could tell that this season's a different Luca. Like averaging 30, 33, 9 and 9 is like nearly 9 and 10. Like I know you can have Jokic, but then again, playing style wise, I still think Luca is more skilled.
I I can give you
because
that. I can give
again,
you that. Yeah.
neither of them play defense, but you know what I mean. Like Luka and Jokic don't have the best defensive side, but it seems to me like the Europeans are taking over the NBA right now. And
Oh, they
my
are.
top two picks for the MVP is obviously Luka and Jokic. I know people are talking about Shea, but for me, Shea doesn't impact the game that Luka and Jokic do. Shea's a better defender, of course, than both of them. But again, for me, Shea's really kind of on the long side, like kind of a similar style to Clarkson, but like he's in a like I know you can argue that Shea's got the best record in the West. Um, and I know records come into consideration when it comes to the MVP big time. So that's why Luka and Jokic and Shea are ahead of Luka in the conversation. I know it's a bit of favoritism because he's my favorite player, but again, 33, 9, and basically 10 assists a game. That's something you can't like. That's Russell Westbrook numbers when he won the MVP. And so that's why I got to go with Luka Doncic.
All right. Luka
Yeah.
Doncic. He actually, if I were to make a top five, he would actually be in the top five. I'll have him, I think, third or fourth. But my top pick for this year in the MVP, it's Jokic. I love watching Jokic play. I think he's my type of player because he doesn't have the body type of an NBA player. Like I remember
I hate it when people call me Baby Jokic.
they do they do
I hate it.
Jokic.
I hear that. I hear that. I do hear that.
So Sam and I both love Jokic because I think there was a story when he was a rookie that his pre-game ritual was to drink a liter of Pepsi, not
Oh
the
yeah, I
no
remember
sugar
that.
one,
Yeah.
a liter of a liter of Pepsi right before each game, and I'm like,
Regular
what
Pepsi.
the hell? This guy drinks a liter of Pepsi, and just watching him play now and how
Crazy.
effective he is on the floor and how dominant the Nuggets are when he is on the floor. The same can be said for Luca, but Luca's fourth, and I think they're fourth now in the West. Jokic is number one, and they have the best offense in the league. And I think the only argument that a lot of NBA media have against Jokic for winning the MVP is because he's already won it twice. Other than that, I think you would give the MVP to Jokic. Again, just watching him play, he can affect the game on so many levels. I just love watching him pass the ball. Like, he seems to know every time where Aaron Gordon is on the dunker spot. He had this game, I think it was against the Celtics. At home against the Celtics, he wasn't even looking to shoot, but he wasn't even looking at the dunker spot. He just put it there. Lo and behold, Aaron Gordon was there to dunk the ball, and he was interviewed after the game. Did you know that Aaron Gordon was there even without looking? Yeah, because he's always there. I see him there, or something like that. And you could talk about numbers. I think Luka has the better overall number. I think he's obviously the better scorer than Jokic is. But the record speaks for itself. His overall impact on his team, the two-man game with Jamal Murray. I think majority of NBA media agree with me also that Jokic is going to be the MVP for this season. Uh, I would actually put Shea at number two just because the Thunder have surprised a lot of people. You know, they're at the top of the West. Or I think Denver's at the top of the West now, and uh, OKC is a close second. But I'm gonna go with Jokic, man. As much as I love Luka, and I do love Luka, uh, Jokic just has a better record, and it's obvious he plays every game too. So he's my pick for MVP this season.
I mean, I gotta actually agree with that. You provided some really good points. Not only that, again, he is an NBA champion, and he's proven it. He's won 2 MVPs already, so it's kind of obvious that he is the front runner. Like you see it on the post of the NBA and stuff all the time. He's always number one. But then again, for me, like it's not even just favoritism. I think it's like again, like with Jokic, it's more fun to watch Luka, in my opinion. Because again, Jokic is a player that like you said, he doesn't have a body of an NBA player. He's just like such a
That's what makes
weird
it
way. Like
fun. That's what makes it
I understand
fun.
that. But then again, like Luka Magic is something that because like for me, I based it off like inspiration. Like Luka's inspired me with so many of his moves and all that type of stuff. Like I love Jokic because he's one of my idols also. But then again, for me personally, it's just going to be Luka because I feel like he deserves it this year. Like he really does because it's so hard to keep maintaining 33 points a game while averaging basically a triple double. Like I know Jokic gets triple doubles, but then again, like there's not a lot of good centers in the league this year, or like even in the league in general compared to the '90s, compared to the
Wait.
2000s.
What? There's Wemby. There's Embiid.
Wembenyama, regardless of his defense, like they're losing every single game, so you can't really say much. Like, look, Embiid's been out most of the season.
Okay, fine.
Uh, like
There's
Rudy.
Rudy Gobert.
Rudy.
Rudy.
I don't want to
AD.
get started with Rudy Gobert. I really don't want to get
He's
started.
obviously not a fan.
Nah, I'm taking Wemby over Rudy Gobert, defensive player of the year this year all the time. I don't care what the NBA
Wow.
plays. Rudy's not
How
averaging as
dare
much
you?
blocks, regardless of the record. Wemby's credit's got to be due. He as a
Wemby's on a
rookie,
bad defensive team.
Wemby's doing everything on his own. Rudy Gobert has Anthony Edwards on his team, and you can't say that Rudy Gobert's not a better player than Wembanyama. There's no way you
He's
can
not
say
a
that.
better player, but a total of the defensive. We're way off the topic already.
This is a whole new podcast episode right here. I love it. I love it. We're getting heated here.
No worry, no worry.
I love it.
So anyway, let us know who you think is going to be the NBA MVP for this season. Is it going to be Luka Doncic, like what Mason Amos says, or is it going to be what
And guys,
all other NBA media says is Nikola
Guys.
Jokic, which is my pick?
who came to the Philippines so that you guys could watch him? That's all I'm gonna
Oh,
say. Jokic
This
did not come to
guy,
the
what a guy.
Philippines.
this guy.
He didn't want to suit up in front of you guys. Lucas showed love to the fans. That's all I'm gonna say.
Because he wanted to see his horse racing. That's why. That's why.
Hey,
That's why.
you know,
That's
fans,
not,
you know who the real MVP is.
just a side note. That's the other reason why I love watching Jokic so much. It just feels like he doesn't care.
He doesn't
Just
care,
a
yeah.
job to
he
him.
doesn't. Yeah, that's true. That's
I always
true.
see the jokes around his horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when he was interviewed after winning the championship last year, he was like, "I feel good. Job's done.
I feel
I'm
good.
gonna go back." And
That's a
I feel
crazy Jokic impersonation.
yeah, because I watched it. That's exactly what he said. Blank face. I'm like, I feel good. Job's done.
You actually
It's
sound-
just a
you
job
actually
to
sound
him.
Serbian.
Gab, I hope we don't have any Serbian listeners because I think when you
Mason, if
butchered that.
you've known me for a long time, I don't do it in front of most people, but I do a lot of accent impersonation.
Jesus.
Just so that you know,
Mercy.
I can do a good Australian accent if you want me to. Anyway,
No,
next question.
Gab, let me stop you there.
So moving on to our next question, we'll have uh, another NBA related question. Who is your dark horse NBA Finals contender? So dark horse, obviously you can't pick any of the top seeds in the East or the West. Has to be someone from the lower seed or someone no one expects to go and contend for the championship. Sammy, let's go with you first.
Okay, so I'm looking at the standings right now. In the West, it's so current standings, okay? So in the West, it's OKC, Minnesota, Denver, the Clippers, the Mavs, Pelicans, Phoenix, and then the Lakers. That's the top 8. I'm not even looking at the contender, the play-in teams. If I had to pick a dark horse team, I don't know if they're still considered a dark horse, but they're in the bottom half. I have to go with Mason's well players team, which is the Mavs. I'm going with the Mavs. So Mavs
I
are
see what you
number
did there,
five.
Sam Santos. I see what you did there.
I gotcha, boy. I gotcha. Mavs are number five, bottom half of the West. But I really love number one the matchup against the Clippers. They've lost the previous two matchups against the Clippers, but they've always competed against the Clippers.
Mm,
So I think um with this matchup, I think Luca and Kyrie can really match well with the Clippers. Number two, they have the superstars. Mason, you mentioned everything. You argued a lot about for you Luca winning the MVP, so they have an MVP candidate.
mhm,
Um, Plus they have a really really good number two in Kyrie Irving, who has proven to be, number two that could help a team win the championship when he was with the Cavs, and he's
mhm,
been solid this season. He hasn't gone crazy or said anything crazy off air as much this season. So I'm praying that he doesn't say or do anything during the entire playoff run and will be good. And I think they have a very solid supporting cast. Maybe not the best, but I think that's why they're a dark horse to me. Um, they've really gotten the most out of the players that they've had. Derek Lively is just a rookie, but he's been very important to the team. Dante Exum came out of nowhere
mhm,
and has revived his career in the NBA. And I think really at the end of the day, when you're in the playoffs, you just need an MVP candidate and maybe like a number two that can really help the MVP when it's winning time. And I can really see the Mavs going on a Cinderella championship run, just like when Dirk won the championship in the past. So
mhm,
Luca can go full beast mode on every other team this coming playoff. So I think
mhm.
I think they're a dark horse contender in the West.
All right.
Okay.
Mason, who's your dark horse
Um,
NBA contender?
my dark horse team. I'm going with the Lakers.
I see what
He's
you did
doing what you
there.
did.
You went with my team. You went with my team.
I'm
Okay,
going. I'm
okay.
going with the Lakers because one, never bet against LeBron in the playoffs. Like that's something that I've learned over the years. Is never doubt LeBron's greatness regardless of his age. As you can see, LeBron's still going crazy in his 30, like his 39, like gonna turn 40 this year. Like he's getting old, but on the bright side of it, the Lakers are still a stacked team, and people still look over part. Like to be honest, when it comes down to business and the playoffs, the Lakers really do show up, and we saw glimpses of it last year. AD is still a monster. People don't like to talk about AD that much anymore, but in terms of getting to the finals, I still think as a dark horse team, the Lakers can still do it. D'Lo has shown why he shouldn't be getting traded, like why he shouldn't get traded.
Deadline
Um,
D'Lo, they call him.
Austin Reeves in the playoffs is a different Austin Reeves, and we've seen that before last year. Um, Rui Hachimura has shown some glimpses as well. Overall, Lakers have a really good defensive team. Actually, they're like when it comes down to it, they can compete with any team in the league. I know you said the Luca and the Mavs, so you used my team against me, but they are going against a really strong Clippers team. They're going against Kawhi Leonard, who, when healthy, by far one of the best two-way players in the league. You've got Russell Westbrook, who, hey, I wouldn't doubt Russell Westbrook either. He's someone that in big game situations he can go off at any time. He's still a former MVP, so I'll never bet against Russ either. Um, Even though he can't shoot the ball like I'd want him to. Um, Paul George too. Again, another
He's
one.
having a
He's having
excellent
a
season.
crazy season, and I know Luca is my favorite player and all. I know he's got Kyrie by his side, but at the end of the day, defense will defense can limit Luca. I know he's not going to get stopped completely because it's Luka Doncic, but they're going to give him a hard time. I know whoever's guarding him is going to give him a hard time. I have no doubt Mavericks can get through the Clippers, but it's going to be more of a difficult task. You see, with the Lakers, LeBron James is the greatest to ever do it, and we'll save that debate for another time. But I'm never going to bet against LeBron James in the playoffs. And we've seen that in the past where people have bet against LeBron against the Warriors. Warriors were the favorite, and look what happened: 3-1 deficit. Anything's possible. So that's my take on the dark horse. That anything is possible, regardless of it being an 8th seed. I still think the Lakers can get it done.
Mason, I'm not gonna argue with you. I wish what you said will happen. I wish the Lakers wins the championship. Let's move on, Gab.
Mhm.
Let's move on. All right.
Let's go, Laker Nation.
Let's go. Sam, next question.
Okay. Next question. First round matchup you're looking forward to the most. So we're talking about the current first round matchup. So if you guys need help, let me just do a quick
So
recap.
nothing set in stone, Sam. So that's the
Yes.
hard part now.
Yeah.
So nothing
Nothing
set.
set
You
in
said.
stone. So we're
So I'm
assuming as of
gonna.
right now, before the last playoff game, uh this is going to be sort of like the matchup. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Okay.
So um, I'm gonna go with an Eastern Conference first round matchup. If you want me to go first, it's gonna be the Sixers versus any of the Celtics or the Bucks. The Sixers early in the season, or I think one of the best teams in the league, with Joel Embiid there, with Tyrese Maxey. Now they're looking a lot like the Sixers of the early season, and I want to see the Sixers against. If Giannis is gonna come back for that first round matchup, I'm excited for that. Giannis versus Embiid. If it's the Celtics against the Sixers, I'm gonna be excited again. The monster of the Celtics team against one of the previous top team in the East is the Philadelphia 76ers. So that's the first round matchup I'm looking forward to the most. Uh, it's Embiid, man. I love watching Embiid. I'm a big fan of Embiid, and the fact that he's a 7th seed, I would be scared if I were the Bucks or the Celtics. Just that. That's my first round matchup. I'm gonna watch that from start to finish. Mason.
For me personally, I would actually say, um, personal take, I would say the Phoenix Suns against the Los Angeles Lakers. Again, KD versus
Oh, you
LeBron
talk about
never disappoint.
the play-in, the play-in.
Yes. So the play-in is what
Oh,
I'm
the play-in
interested in
game. Yeah.
first because again, it's not set in stone like you said. But of course, when it comes down to it, my pick is actually the Clippers versus the Mavs. Like that's already set in stone. Um, so I want to say that matchup is going to be something I'm looking forward to watching. Having Kawhi, Luka go head to head, having PG in there, having Kyrie against those other guys too, like Kyrie against Westbrook. That's a crazy matchup for me. Like that's the first time I'm going to see Kawhi against Luka. And that's something I'm really excited for.
This is
Because
round 3 though for the Clippers and the Mavs. Remember they've met
yeah,
twice.
yeah.
Once in the bubble and once in 2021, not
But
mistaken.
like in
Yeah.
terms of like being fully healthy, like and in a big, like in a proper atmosphere, not like in the bubble, how like there was no one watching, it was all online. Uh, like you know what I mean. Like atmosphere has a lot to
Yeah.
do with how teams play in the playoffs as well, and how they perform. Um, but in terms of now the plan, Phoenix versus Lakers is the game to watch. Um, like LeBron and KD have history against going against each other. D Book is there. You got Bradley Bill. Um, Suns got a strong core. However, when it comes to getting into the playoffs, we know that LeBron is someone you really got to watch out for. A lot of people look past him because of his age, but we know who LeBron James is. He's the leader in points of all time. Like, I don't need to say anything more than that. We all know who LeBron James is. So, for me, that's my personal pick for the biggest matchup so far.
Just
All
to
right, I
add
like it.
on
Go,
the
Sam.
play in pick. I think the history behind Frank Vogel coaching against his former team, Phoenix and LA being longtime rivals during the Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant era. So there's a lot of like history behind that rivalry too. I think, which is what makes it even more interesting.
And
No,
we
that the
gotta
Phoenix
hope
Suns.
that
Yeah.
the Lakers win tomorrow, because if they don't, we're not gonna have that matchup.
Yeah.
I think they're a game up on Sacramento. So if they lose tomorrow and Sacramento wins, I think we're not gonna have that Phoenix Lakers game. So hopefully. All right.
Actually, I think if the
Last
Lakers win tomorrow against the Pelicans, Phoenix goes up to 6.
And then
I'm
we
not
won't have to
Oh,
face
really?
Yeah.
Phoenix. Yeah.
So we really won't have this game after tomorrow, actually. Now that I think
Crazy
about it,
last day
I'm
of
not sure.
the
Yeah,
NBA season.
crazy.
So
It's a
does
crazy
that mean
last
it'll
day.
be Lakers versus Pelicans and
It might be. I think so. Yeah.
Lakers versus Pelicans
It
in the
might be
play-in?
if
So
the
they've played each other
Lakers.
twice.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that would be interesting because Pelicans have really played well this season.
And I
Zion
think
is
BI
coming
is
on.
coming back.
Zion is
I
coming
think
on.
Ingram's
He's
coming
coming
back.
on.
Hot take.
All
I
right.
feel like the Pelicans are better without BI when Zion has the ball in his hands.
That's true.
Oh,
That's true.
yeah.
A lot
Actually,
of people are
Mason,
saying
I
that.
agree with you. I agree. The Point Zion is a beast. Point Zion is a beast.
He's too big. He's too big for basketball.
He should be playing football, actually. All right. Enough of our tangents. We're going on 1 hour and 20. So we have our last question for this evening. Your championship prediction for this season, Mason. I'll
My
be shocked if you
championship.
still say the Lakers.
My championship prediction. Honestly, I'm still gonna have to go with the Nuggets. I think that as a core, they're way too strong. They've got the experience, and the way they're playing right now, it's hard to say that any team is better than them in the league. They've proven it. They continue to prove it. I know Jokic is the front runner of the MVP. I don't really like it because I love Luka, but um, I got to give credit where credit is due, and I think that the Nuggets are just going to take it out again. Might go back to back.
Sammy.
Okay, I hate this because I had the Nuggets as the clear championship favorite. So won't argue with that. Just so that I can pick another team. I'm sticking with the Mavs. I think they can really do it. I think
Wow,
they
your
can surprise
dark
teams.
horse
Yeah,
contender is gonna be your prediction.
you might champion because I
That's
can't pick the Nuggets, so
brave.
I'm going with the Mavs. It's
No
that
one's
simple.
picking the Celtics.
Have you noticed it's always the Europeans that are getting picked?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. The Celtics haven't been good the past few games, so I'm
They're
not
not trying to win, Sam. They've locked.
Well,
They're
that's true.
12 games up on number 2. Well, I think
I
that's
just think
14
it's
now.
going to
It's
be a West team. I just think it's going to be a West team. That's all I'm saying. The West is a lot
the
tougher.
disrespect of the Celtics on this episode.
Hey,
I
all
can't
I'm gonna
believe
say is it's been known that Celtics choke in the playoffs.
it.
Right now,
They
they're
lost
going
to,
up against
they
the
lost
Heat,
to an 8th seed with
supposedly.
Jimmy Butler. They lost to an 8th seed.
And they're
with
going
Jimmy
up
Butler.
against the Heat again.
Yep.
They're going up against the Heat again.
Ah.
That's another one.
my
I'm never
God.
betting against Jimmy Butler anymore in the playoffs. This guy he ruins parlays for everyone.
Yeah, he does. Jimmy last year was crazy. But anyway, that's it for our episode for today. Thank you so much, Mason, for coming on again. It's been a joy having you here. We love having you here as a guest. We enjoy watching you play. And for those of you guys who want to watch Mason Amos play, the Pinoy Liga Cup is ongoing. I think they'll be continuing their games this Thursday and Saturday and Sunday. So watch Mason and the Ateneo Blue Eagles there in the Pinoy Liga Cup. Follow their socials for more updates on their games. And as usual, you can like and subscribe to Boleros because while it's the off season, we have a lot of content for you guys. Thank you again, Mason Amos. Any last words?
Like and subscribe. Hit the like button. The Boleros is the podcast to watch. Keep updated for new videos because they're going to be posting content, especially a lot in this off season. Because I'm sure there's going to be more off season rumors, trades, etc. So just be ready and watch Boleros.
You heard it
Thank
here
you.
first.
Good night,
See you.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.